Now let's get back to the discussion. Please go ahead.
Well, it boils down to one fact, and that simple fact is that Nigerians don't trust the establishment, and whatever the government tells you, people have a reason to doubt. And that's not a fact or a problem that started with this regime. This is a function of the misrule that we have had over the last 50-something or so years, and over the last 5 decades and a half. Nigerians have not had a government that's been true to them. They have not had a government they can believe in. They have not had a government that had their welfare at the back of its mind. And so when you have instances like that, people tend to doubt everything that comes out from government establishments. The question we should ask ourselves is this: where did the 8.64 billion naira emanate from? Who flew that kite? For what purpose was that? What was that kite flew? And what was it meant to achieve? Was it meant to test the waters? Was it real? Or was the figure of 500,000 that the Revenue Mobilization and Allocation Committee gave us meant to doubt the tensions that arose as a result of the 8.64 billion naira figure that was given out? These are issues that are very germane. It still boils down to the fact that there's a lot of miscommunication and distrust in the system, and that this government, after all, is looking much more useless, if you like, in my own opinion, at least in the last 2 or 3 weeks, much more than the Jonathan government that some of us described as utterly clueless and irresponsible. I mean, how can you have a government institution wait for issues like this to become alarming before it comes out with whatever figure you think is right? Who is in charge of all these RMAFT committees? Who's in charge of the National Assembly leadership? Who gives information out to the public? These are issues we need to ask as citizens. People must be made accountable for whatever come out from them. People must stand for whatever statements that emanate from them. Now, if we were given wrong figures in the first instance, some people must pay for it. That's how it happens in all democracies.
The best way for us to bring accountability is let the media needs to help us, and we need to also use social media. The power of recall. You know, if people can begin to recall senators, if they see that it has happened to one person. For instance, look at the deputy speaker from Osun. Look at the thing he was saying, that the jumbo pay is not outrageous. You know, that alone, you know, it deserves for him to be recalled. Because this is somebody, even if it was a PDP honorable member now, it's still understandable. Because they see us in the PDP as if we are the problem with Nigeria. But now you can say that there's unity in looting by the display of what we have seen in the National Assembly. You know, both the PDP and the APC senators and honorable members, they are united in their attempt to just, you know, loot the resources of their country. You know, so these guys, they all seem to have a common ground and common interest, which is just what can we get?
We, on the social media, through our pen and whatever small intelligence God gave us, we condemned Goodluck Jonathan up to a point where people felt it was the most hated character in the world. The pen that we used to write against Jonathan were not thrown away. We kept them somewhere. It would take us nothing to bring this pen out and nail President Muhammadu Buhari to the dustbin of history if he doesn't wake up. He got it wrong for me when he said, I belong to nobody, I belong to everybody. How can you say you belong to nobody and you belong to everybody, when in actual fact, in the prelude to your elections, you were busy flying private jets up and down? Did he think those private jets came from heaven? And was he thinking that people would not ask questions eventually when he settles down? I mean, those are statements that can only be made by a man who is cocksure and benefit from products of corruption.
This is a moral issue. You know, they should on their own reject the pay. We don't need to hit the streets before they know what to do. They should do the right thing, you know. And I'm of the opinion that Nigerians, you know, should talk to their legislators, you know, and prevail upon them to reject the pay, you know, because if Ben Moribu is saying he's going to donate, that is still collecting the money. You know, we don't want them to collect this money. We don't want a situation where they will be able to have access to such outrageous funds, because it's just completely unacceptable to me. Because, you know, considering the economic realities, dwindling of you know, the price of crude oil globally.
I agree with Deji Adeyonju that it's about time we started recalling some of our senators, some of our representatives who are not doing what we ask them to do or what they are supposed to be doing. But before you start recalling, you understand, you have to tell these senators first, through the right channel, to do this and do that. Call your senator in the district through your representative or your interest group leader. Call your senator, send him a letter and say, we want you to move a motion on the floor of the House of Reps saying that there will be no allowance for furniture, no allowance for wardrobe. Tell your senator to do that. Through your interest group, if you are a student, go through your student union group. If you are a market woman, you have your market. Go and put these messages to them at the constituency office or the district office. Now, when the senator goes there and he does not move that motion, then you can start the process of recall.
We might not need to recall people if we get our priorities right. And for me, the only solution to the National Assembly or the legislature crisis vis-a-vis the kind of bad representation Nigerians are having is to demonetize that system. And how do I mean? Make it a part-time institution where people don't come and sit down in Abuja and think that all their problems and that of their great-great-grandfathers and grandmothers will be solved by the Nigerian state. Ensure that whoever becomes a national legislator does that on a part-time basis, one. And this bogus pay, this alarming pay they get, scrap it completely. You will find out that you won't have all these money bags struggling to contest for positions as representatives and as senators again. The reason why you're having this madness, in quote, if you like, happening is because there's so much money to be shared. So once you make sure that these monies aren't any longer at stake, naturally, these tips in human clothing would disappear, and you would have the main people who have the interest of Nigerians at heart vying for positions.
And the thing I want to tell Nigerians, we should not forget that these people are public servants. We send them there to go and serve us, and we must tell them how we want to be served. If we don't tell them, then they will go there and do anything they like. So we must call them and say, okay, you are resuming work. This is what we want from you, as in different, your district, from your senatorial district, get your union together, get your people and say, okay, let's set out what we want our senator to say in Senate this year, how we want our country to move this year. So I think Nigerians should start doing that, telling their public servants what they want.
For some of us who put our lives and our ideas and beliefs on the line for this government to emerge, I feel certain that it's starting on a very wrong footing. And unfortunately, again, the presidency has kept mum. That worries me. And that's a serious thing we need to really be concerned about as a people and as Nigerians. So it would be my hope, it would be my belief that in the weeks to come, the government would focus, and then we'll see a situation where the government can address Nigerians properly and we'll be able to get the right idea of how much is really going to who and how much is not going to. At the moment, I still would continue to believe that it's a hoax, it's a rumor that doesn't exist until the government does finalize that and we see it in print. Because I read just some few minutes ago that the House leadership and the Senate, indeed, the Senate leadership and both the House of Reps are beginning to say that the amount does not exist and that it exists only in the imagination of Nigerians. What that means, no one knows. So let's exactly know how much is paid to each senator, why such pay should continue to sustain in the midst of this crazy economic situations Nigerians are going through.
Every second, every minute, every hour, and every day, business decisions are taken across the globe. From banking to the capital market, manufacturing to maritime, from aviation to insurance, SMEs to blue chip companies.